It's time to crown the first champions of the summer here at LakePoint Sports. I'm Cory McCartney, hoping you all had a great and safe Memorial Day weekend. We've got our sights on the 17U championship game, the state games of Georgia between TL10 and Excel Baseball American. We're eyeing a 3 p.m. first pitch on this one. Figures to be a good one. 4 committed players in all in this game, headlined by TL10's Reese Grodeman, a Georgia Southern commit out of Georgia's Model High School. Now, the on-field action is just part of the offerings here at LakePoint Sports, where we effort to provide a best-in-class experience. That includes access to testing and player evaluation that is redefining both of those things. And located here on campus, Curve Test Center gives athletes an unprecedented look at how they measure up through its ball, body, and brain approach to testing. Let's go inside the Curve Test Center.
We're here at LakePoint Sports, the site of the first Curve Test Center. There will be lots of Curve Test Centers, but this will always be the first. And why are we here? Here for a couple of reasons. One is if you think about the effort players are spending trying to get coaches to notice them, the effort coaches are spending trying to figure out who's actually any good, the poor parents who are sitting there saying, where's my kid headed? This is the answer for all that.
Everyone wants to be seen, right? Sometimes what can be seen is data. So it's hard to get in front of coaches at all these programs at once, or even the school you really want to go to. So using data helps us a ton. And as long as it's reliable and there's something that can give us better information with the small sample size is what we're looking for.
Test your athletic, cognitive, and baseball skills at TrackMan, Proteus, and more. Visit the Bubble or sign up now at curvetestcenter.com. Don't miss this chance to level up your game. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting lineups presented by the Windscreen Factory. TL10 will be led off by Trey Luke, then it's Nealon Holsey, Reese Grodeman, Gage Campbell, Nolan Elrod, Tucker Glenn, Roderick Ware, Bryce Davis, Seth Jeter, Lofton Brown, and Price Strickland on the mound. Meanwhile, for Excel Blue Wave American, they'll be led off by Samuel Eliard, followed by Austin Daniel, then Luke Hauser. Cooper Mincy will be also on the mound. Jake Powell, Jack Hauser, Wyatt Garner, Jacob Burgos, Carson Purdy, and Cooper Anderson. We're actually ready to get our action going here on the mound. We're going a little bit quicker than anticipated. We are chasing a storm here, as is often the case during the summer months here at LakePoint Sports. We are underway, now joined in by Grayson Rosen. We're actually getting started 5 minutes early. Look at this, Grayson. We never see this happen.
So early, I don't even have my headset on.
Yeah, you don't even have your headset on.
Go.
Samuel Eliard at the plate now, swinging a miss on that one out of the hands of Price Strickland. Strickland, a Georgia Highlands signee, one of the few guys in this game who has graduated from high school, still able to play in this event. So under 18 years old, so he is still in this one. That one is to the shortstop, throws in time for the first out. So very quickly, one down.
Yeah, these guys definitely happy that they're going to get underway now. It was looking like a strong delay they were going to have after TL10 played a long semifinal game over on field 11. But getting underway even a couple minutes early.
So Excel Blue Wave has Cooper Mincy on the mound. We're not going to get our typical behind the pitcher view on this one. Our camera's not switching as they do. We typically have the ability with our AI cameras to switch back and forth. They're not cooperating at the moment. Swing and a miss on that one, 87.4 out of the hands of Mincy out of Bremen High School here in Georgia. The only Georgia player on this Excel Blue Wave American squad. 5'11", 160-pounder. He's working quickly. 14th prep baseball event for him. He's got a fastball up around 87 on the profile, but we just saw him pop 88.5 on that last pitch.
Brings 88.4 on that one. Missed outside as well.
Comes the 3-1.
Got a little bit under that one.
Nealon Hulsey pops
spot.
that one out into left field. And
Ooh,
diving
he dropped
catch.
it.
He drops it. Hulsey's going to be aboard. Nealon Hulsey, an absolute fixture here at LakePoint Sports, by the way. I can't believe I've gone this far into a broadcast in which he's playing without mentioning him as we see the celebration. Nealon was gracious enough to join me last summer when he played for Nevada during the future games. They needed a catcher, and Nealon stepped up. He'd never been to Nevada before.
Not from Nevada, never been there. But he got to show off for a little bit.
Reese Grodeman now at the plate. Really excited. Jack McCartney caught up with Reese pregame. And, man, you talk about exciting players. Reese, in terms of two ways, is about as good as it gets in Georgia in the class. I mean, just an absolute weapon on the mound and at the plate. Plays third base, dribbles that one foul. 7th-ranked right-handed pitcher in Georgia, 20th overall in the class. 78th-ranked right-hander in the nation, 224 overall. Exit velos north of 90 miles an hour. Fastball north of 90 miles an hour.
Heading to Statesboro to play for Georgia Southern at the end of his career.
He rips that one up the middle, and he'll advance the courtesy runner for Hulsey to second.
It's good work right there, just putting one straight up the middle. I mean, just left of the pitcher there and put it in the perfect spot. Now you got
Big Gage Campbell.
Yeah,
now
early on.
in.
First and second with one out. Definitely the way that TL10 wants this thing to start.
Gage Gamble steps in 6'4", 220 pounds, another Rockmart player. There are a number of them on this TL10 squad. 9th-ranked first baseman in Georgia in 26. He's currently uncommitted. 160 overall in the class. 16th prep baseball event for him. Talk about frames, man. 6'4", 220. This guy can do some damage. It's a dribbler. First baseman has it on the bounce, tags the bag for the second out.
You advance the runners, so you can have a 2-out situation with the runners in scoring position.
It's going to bring up Nolan Elrod at Cartersville. 2021 junior feature gamer playing in his 16th prep baseball event, 5'11", 185-pound lefty. Mincy drops that in for a strike. I think we get a little bit spoiled with that outfield camera looking in. We get to see a lot of the break on the pitches and sometimes even picking up the signs as well. But here comes the 1-0, rips that one into left field. That's going to be down. Perfect. Here comes a run for TL10. Nolan Elrod getting it done, gives them a 1-0 lead here in the top of the first.
I mean, that fell in right in between shortstop and right in between the left fielder and just had no chance for either of them to put leather on it. Great hit right there and opens up the scoring early.
Elrod's got him on the board, and that's going to bring up Tucker Glenn, 5'11", 155-pounder. Glenn holds back. 11th prep baseball event for him. He's playing left field today for TL10. Runners at the corners now. Did not go on the check swing.
Not sure what just happened to our scoreboard, but it says there's 3 outs. To our knowledge, there's not.
But there is one run on the board, which it also does not display. We know better here. 1-0 is the lead for TL10, and there are only 2 outs. Comes Mincy. Holds again.
Seems like he really wants to swing. Just hasn't
everybody else is jumping on
given
things.
the opportunity.
Everyone, no one's really gone that deep into account. I don't think Tucker Glenn wants to play that way either.
Thought he was going to get rewarded for that patience.
Count is now 3-1. He's got his cape on.
Yep.
The omnipresent hood's here now. The 3-1 for Mincy.
There it goes.
Yeah, misses inside, got himself a walk, and the bases are now going to be loaded for Roderick Ware. I mentioned this to you during our pregame preparation. if this was the Hunger Games and we were putting something out there that would be, like our tribute, the person that we were putting out there, if this becomes,
he's a beast.
Yeah. I think I'm putting Roderick Ware out there because he comes in.
This looks like it might be somebody else. This is actually Bryce Davis. So maybe they had that backwards in the lineup that they gave us.
All right, so this is Bryce Davis. I'll get to my Roderick Ware rant a little bit later on. So yeah, the lineup that we had looks like it's a little bit off.
Bryce Davis out of North Paulding, a strong North Paulding squad from this past year.
32nd ranked third baseman in Georgia in 2026. Watches that one miss high. It's 356 overall in the class. 13th prep baseball event for him. He's got the bases loaded, a 1-0 lead for TL10. Holds back, but that's in for a strike.
I think that's strike 2 now. See if Bryce Davis can keep things alive. Still not too sure what's going on in the with our scorekeeper, but it is the top of the first. Holds off on that one for a ball. We got a 2-2 count. Let's see what Mincy has to offer here. 2-2, 2 outs, bases loaded.
Fouls that one off. Yeah, looking at the lineup that we were given pregame, pretty sure this was the spot that was supposed to be inhabited by Roderick Ware. But we will sort that out as this game continues. Mincy delivers, swings through that one, goes down on strikes, and gets out of it with the bases loaded, but TL10 has taken a 1-0 lead. We'll be back. You're watching the 17U championship game from the State Games of Georgia.
Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
You are watching our coverage of the 17U championship game of the State Games of Georgia TL10 against Excel Baseball Academy. Matchup of teams from Georgia and Alabama. TL10 can't let a team from Alabama walk out as the State Games of Georgia championship, can they?
You'd hope not, but we have no rooting favorites here.
That is true. Reese Grodem, and see him in action. We will see an interview with him and Jack McCartney in just a little bit. Cory McCartney along with Grayson Rosen. We have a 1-0 lead for TL10 as they were able to jump on Cooper Mincy, but they left the bases loaded, so inning ended with some good feelings for Excel as they limited the damage this inning. They will send Samuel Eliard, Austin Daniel, and Luke Hauser to the plate, and they'll be facing off against Price Strickland. Nealon Holsey behind the plate. Already went through our starting lineup, but give it to you one more time. We can pull up our starting lineup presented by the Windscreen Factory. Let's get a look at that defense for TL10. Now let's hold off on that. We got a batter coming to the plate now. But again, we got Nealon Holsey behind the plate. Got Nolan Elrod playing first base. Playing second is Seth Jeter. Third baseman is Reese Grodem. And shortstop is Lofton Brown. Outfield we'll have Tucker Glenn in left, Trey Luke in center, and then it is Bryce Davis in right. So the prep baseball profile had Samuel and then had Landon in parentheses, Eliard.
So I think we should go with Landon.
We should, but the starting lineup
that's-
that his coaches gave us said
Okay.
S. Eliard.
Okay, so then that's conflicting. Typically, the way I would do it is defer to their social media. So maybe that's the way we should go about it. Let's see.
All right, while we wait for that, we're watching a 2-0 count here against Eliard.
Okay, well, this just got 10 times more difficult. His Twitter is Samuel Eliard, and
Okay.
his Instagram is Landon.
Wow. Maybe he will answer to either.
Potentially, I think we'll go to Samuel.
All right. Well, Samuel has a 2-1 count here against Price Strickland. Strickland 6'1", 215-pounder on his way to Georgia Highlands. And he has graduated very recently from East Paulding. Just had graduations across the metro area here in the last 2 weeks. He's got a fastball up around 84, changeup 70 to 75, curveball 71 to 74, and also works in a slider 68 to 70. Got a 3-1 count. And he issues a leadoff walk here to Eliard, and it's going to bring up Austin Daniel, the left fielder. Price's brother Tripp was the subject of one of our dugout chatter interviews in the last couple weeks here playing for Kane Southeast. Tripp said his brother wasn't very good.
I love talking to these guys that have siblings that have come through as well, and hearing their opinions, because oftentimes the younger brothers love to say that they are better than all of the older siblings.
Well, I think Tripp's about half the size of Price right now, so you may want to be careful. And his own estimate of his brother's skill set, one's going to go foul.
Had enough foul balls. Our umpire already asking for some new ones.
Pell City's Austin Daniel at the plate. 5th prep baseball event for this 5'11", 155-pounder. Playing left field today.
See how Strickland navigates the left-handed batter. Oh, got an early steal, and nobody
runner
calls
takes
him.
off, and Halsey will just hold on to that one.
Might have been the easiest stolen base of Samuel Eliard's career.
Maybe we should just call him S.L. Eliard. Then we get
SL,
both of them. Then if we call him, and then we get both sides of
It's
it.
a popular like author move. To
That's
go
true.
by
Yeah,
2 initials.
It is. Yeah, but then we've covered ourselves.
That is true.
Rips that one back foul. He runs a 6.68 60, so get to see a little bit of that there. As Halsey just had to hold on to that one with the great jump that Eliard got. See if he takes off for third here. Trying to answer that 1-0 lead that TL10 grabbed in the top of the first.
Yeah. I mean, Eliard's got that 6.68 60. He's not afraid to use it.
Halsey's got the bleach blonde hair. Rockmart must have did that for the playoff run.
There's a lot of bleach blonde hair walking around the
Yeah.
campus this weekend, that is for sure. And a lot of guys that are probably wishing they didn't have to hold on to it all summer, but some of them may be bringing up a bad memory of a blowout loss in the playoffs potentially. But
I
for others, it's a state championship ring.
I just always wonder what a guy with already blonde hair does.
Typically, your hair's not already that blonde, and then it just kind of goes back to how it was. It gets him down on strikes right there.
All right, so he gets Daniel. That's going to bring up Luke Hauser, the catcher.
But it is always funny to me because we have so many events here, throughout the summer, and a thing like top prospect games that's coming up where almost every guy is going to walk in here, get their picture taken, update their profile, and they're going to have bleach blonde hair from the playoffs.
Yeah, and the most embarrassing thing for them is when we want to do interviews with them is Hauser puts that one right up the middle. Runner's going to take off for home. The throw is coming across. It's cut off by the shortstop. Hit his glove.
Yeah.
Run does score for Excel Blue Wave, and Luke Hauser's on first with an RBI.
I don't know if that ball would have got there in time, but you certainly have to wish that your shortstop didn't knock it down on its way in.
Well, Hauser's got an RBI off the deflection. Cooper Mincy, who we saw on the mound to start the first, is now up. Again, Bremen, Georgia, 2026, playing for a team largely made up of players out of Alabama. 39th ranked shortstop in Georgia. He's 196 overall in the class. Big summer for these 2026s. We saw a number of them, obviously, after the feature games that ended up committing those not to say that these guys who are ranked in their states aren't of that ilk, but certainly, a lot of those players that we saw from the feature games when in front of 500 scouts were very quickly gobbled up. Some of these guys are fighting for their college futures here this summer as Mincy puts that one up the middle. Easily tags. Second for 1 out and throw over to first to complete the double play. We've got a tie ball game, though, 1-1. We're headed to the second inning. You're watching the 17U championship game from the State Games of Georgia.
First one I picked up, I just liked it the best. And like I said, I tried a lot of different companies, a lot of different models, and I fell in love with Old Hickory for sure.
We are on to the second inning, all notched up at 1-1. Cory, McCartney, Grayson, Rosen with you. State Games of Georgia 17U championship game. Cooper Mincy returns on the mound for Excel Blue Wave American. Facing off against a TL10 squad that's largely made up of players from Georgia. I mentioned the amount of Rockmart players on this team is a lot, to say the least. But let's run through the schedules and how these teams got there. TL10 Saturday beat Kane Southeast 20-26 Alabama 5-3. Sunday they beat Mission Prospects 13-0. Monday they took down Coastal Stars 11-0. And their win over Excel Blue Wave National this morning was a score of 2-1. And they beat 6-4-3 DP Jaguars 8-5 in the semifinals.
Yeah, that win over Excel Blue Wave National was extremely impressive. They're the #1 seed coming out of pool play, and we saw an absolute gem from Reese Grodman.
Meanwhile, Excel Blue Wave American on Saturday, they beat 9th inning Royal 6-4. Took down Game On Elite 4-0 on Sunday. Monday, they were 12-3 winners over Beat Hustle Baseball. Their bracket plays included beating Kane Southeast 20-26 Alabama 10-1. And they took down MGB Scout Nike 12-3 to reach the finals.
Comes in as a strike. The catcher couldn't hold on.
Now we have this listed as Bryce Davis.
And this is
Seth Jeter.
Yeah.
So Seth Jeter's now up. Jeter, another Georgia Highlands commit.
Comes in for the second strike. Quickly down 0-2 here to start off the inning.
And Jeter Maynard Jackson 2025. That one's going to get out of the hand of Mincy and throw it over to second is going to be in time for the out.
He might have made that close. He was he was kind of rolling there for a second.
I always get a little concerned when the pitcher starts reaching out with the bare hands.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got to be really careful when you're doing that. And we're talking about guys that are trying to fight for a commitment here. This is probably your last summer playing travel ball, so you're definitely looking to stay safe and keep playing.
Lofton Brown now steps in. Whitefield Academy 2026. 12th prep baseball event for him. That's going to miss. We saw some of the speed there, as you mentioned, from Seth Jeter. Swing and a miss, and the elevated fastball is going to make the count 2-1.
Yeah, that was a great pitch right there from Mincy.
After Brown, it's the top of the order and Trey Luke.
87 on the outside, swing and a miss.
As much as we talk about how pivotal this summer is for these players' college aspirations, there is the added wrinkle of the senior future games, which were added last summer. So we could see some of these guys, if they maybe don't have the level of commitment that they wanted or feel like they've still got something left to prove, there is that opportunity dangling for them. We saw a number of guys do very well for themselves as Mincy gets the strikeout there, do very well for themselves out of the senior future games. Saw a number of guys go on to Power 4 programs. So it's a legit opportunity for these guys if they can come down here and show out.
Yeah, the one that I love to go to is Zahir Barjam. Playing,
absolutely.
In earning himself a commitment to West Virginia and also a huge jump in the rankings afterwards. I mean, had himself a huge summer and capped it off at the Senior Future Games with an incredible performance there, and then just kept it rolling, was at Super 60, just really got a chance to show off what he had to offer, and a lot of other players getting those chances as well.
No one loves that story that you just told more than the people who work for prep baseball, because then they get to say, hey, we had this guy that we had this opportunity we created with the Senior Future Games. Then this guy ends up getting to show out for college coaches, gets to Super 60, and it's in front of MLB scouts, and then he's got himself a Power 4 commitment. So a big-time story to tell there. And for a strike, and Cooper Mincy came to deliver in the second inning. Man,
tapping 89 a couple
on
times.
That one, yeah. During the intro, I mentioned Reese Grodem, and for good reason, the 7th-ranked right-handed pitcher in Georgia, 78th nationally. The Georgia Southern commit can absolutely deal. You can just ask Excel Blue Wave National about that one. They faced him this morning. He struck out 10, allowing 2 hits in a complete game. Jack McCartney went one-on-one with the 6'5", 192-pounder in this edition of Dugout Chatter.
I'm here with Georgia Southern commit Reese Grodem, 2026 right-handed pitcher and third baseman for TL10. Reese, man, thanks for the time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so you were here for the 2022 Junior Future Games.
Sure.
At what point, I mean, you've been here so many times, at what point did you really feel like you've had a future in baseball?
Well, honestly, after those future games, a lot of people started texting me about colleges and everything, and I mean, that really got me exposure out in this baseball.
All right, so on your prep baseball page, you have a fastball up to 91, and you have a slider up to 77.
Yes, sir.
Which of those two pitches do you really feel like you have an advantage against the batters you're facing?
Well, honestly, slider's more like a strikeout pitch, and my changeup, I really like my changeup. Usually gets the hitters off balance really good, and that's about it.
So in the summer of 22, you had a fastball up to 85. In 23, your fastball was up to 89, and in the fall of 24, your fastball was up to 91. What did you do to really help that growth and that constant up on your fastball velo?
Really worked with my high school pitching coach, Ryan Evans. He really helped me a lot. Just mobility, a lot of pitching mechanics and everything, really sinking in my back leg. It really helped me a lot.
All right, that was great, Reese. Thanks for the time.
Sure.
Great stuff there from Jack McCartney. Again, you'll be able to catch that one across our social media channels if you missed it there, or maybe just you want to see it again. We are with Price Strickland back on the mound for TL10, 1-1 ball game here in the bottom of the second inning. Rips that one down the left side, 90.1, but it goes foul. Got Jake Powell at the plate now. Will be followed by Jack Hauser, then Wyatt Garner.
Yeah, and I'm almost, I'll say 95% sure that Luke and Jack Hauser are twins. I looked at their pictures, and they look nearly identical. And the two of them both hit triples in their in their win in I believe the semifinal. They absolutely obliterated their opponent.
Well, Luke's got an RBI today, so Jack's got something to try to follow when he gets up here momentarily. 3-1 count. Powell at the plate now. Demopoulos?
I believe
that's how you say that? Demopoulos.
Yeah.
Well, he's the 25th ranked shortstop in Alabama, 152 overall in the class. Swing and a miss, runs the count even. 5th prep baseball event for him. Another guy with some speed for Excel, 6'8" in the 60. Matches that with 97 exit velos.
See what Price Strickland's got for him on 3-2.
Chops that one off into right field, and that is going to be hauled in for the out. Raindrops falling now here in Emerson, Georgia.
Yeah, we've got some. It's a light rain, but
yeah, it looked like it was pretty much going to be here until about 5, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we're going to be dealing with rain regardless. So we can keep playing here on these geosurfaces fields as long as we don't have thunder and lightning. So let's hope both those things hold off and we can complete this matchup here again for the 17U championship. State Games of Georgia. Here is Jack Hauser. Luke is 203 pounds. Jack is 165 pounds. Both 6 foot. Mountain Brook, Alabama. Jack is the 32nd ranked outfielder in Alabama. His brother Luke, 7th ranked catcher. He's got a 2-1 count here against Georgia Highlands signee Price Strickland. Oh, chops it off. Second base has it. Throws in time. It's going to be the second out.
Yeah, well played right there at second base. That one definitely got a lot of spin coming off the bat. Played it safe and got the out at first.
Hillcrest Wyatt Garner steps in, 12th ranked first baseman in Alabama, 149 overall in 26. There is some size to this Excel Blue Wave team. Count the amount of guys coming in at over 200 pounds on this squad. I think we got ourselves a linebacker core.
Wouldn't be too surprised if these guys are playing football in the fall.
3 players over 200 pounds. Garner among them.
Rain coming down a little stronger now.
Yeah. It is gray skies and wet here in Emerson.
Things you kind of have to take into account is this turf gets wet. Sliding is certainly a big change from how the conditions have played earlier in these games they've played. And then for the pitchers, it's kind of just torture to try and keep a dry ball in your hands.
So here's the kind of the double-edged sword of how great these fields are. We don't let people wear spikes on them, but when it gets wet, you probably wish you had spikes on, but we don't allow anybody to wear spikes.
Exactly.
So he's aboard with a walk, and it's going to bring up Jacob Burgos, Pell City 26. Some speed on the base pass there in Garner.
The pickoff move can certainly be of use to the pitcher. It's definitely the advantage when you get these conditions.
Burgos chops that one off, 83-2 off his bat into the glove of the right fielder, and that's going to bring an end to the inning. Still all notched up at 1-1. We'll be back from LakePoint Sports.
Hot summer days call for cool adventures in Cartersville Museum City. Beat the heat indoors with jaw-dropping exhibits at TELUS Science Museum and the Savoy Automobile Museum. Hit the water at Terminus Wake Park, kayak the Etowah River, or head to Lake Allatoona for fishing, boating, and unbeatable lake days. When the sun sets, head downtown for live music, delicious eats, and local flavors. From family fun to date nights, summer memories start here. Plan your trip today at CartersvilleMuseumCity.com.
Our LakePoint Sports photographers deliver at the highest level, taking you inside the action here across campus. Yeah, we've got game day covered. Now you can see your game through our lens and purchase the photos as well. Just use the QR code on screen for the latest images, galleries uploaded after the completion of tournaments and events. I've been informed that expect by the end of day tomorrow we'll have our photos in for the state games of Georgia. You can also go to LakePointSports.com or any of our social media channels for more information.
Big shift in the weather.
Yeah, it's raining buckets out there right now, and you can't necessarily see it quite in detail there on screen, but it is getting extremely wet out there. The throw down from the catcher, and we will roll along here in the third inning.
I'm getting a light misting on my leg, so I might have to let you take over, and I'll close this side door for us.
All right, we are back to the top of the order at TL10. They're going to send up Trey Luke, then Neelan Holsey, and Reese Grodeman. TL10, 2 hits so far. Excel Blue Wave has just one of their own. Cooper Mincy back on the mound. Mincy looked fantastic last inning, man. He's got 2 Ks so far, allowed 2 hits. His counterpart, Price Strickland, 1 strikeout, 2 walks.
I can confirm it's raining pretty good. A lot more wet than I anticipated, just stepping out for a second.
All right, Rockmart's Trey Luke steps in.
We've had this conversation so many times, but when it starts pouring like this, a pitcher keeping a grip on the ball is just ever so important.
So the last, what was it, 2 weeks ago.
I think it was
we had
2 or 3 weeks ago.
We had a game where it was just torrential downpours. And talking to pitchers in that one, they said you basically just threw away anything with any break to it, and and you can't throw as hard as you want to. Just go up there and have something you can control, get it over the plate, and try to let your defense work. And it looks like we are going to get a bit of a weather delay. So, yep, I hate to see that one for sure. But we're going to take a break. We'll rejoin you as soon as we can. We are all tied up 1-1 in the top of the third. You are watching the state games of Georgia. We'll be back as soon as we can from LakePoint Sports. Just an update here from Emerson, Georgia. If you've been watching us for the 17U championship game for the state games of Georgia between TL10 and Excel Blue Wave American, we've been in a weather delay for about 45 minutes now. Expected decision by 5 p.m. Let's see if we can get this one in. Still a number of games to be played across all the divisions in this matchup. So we will have word for you as soon as we can, and rejoin you here shortly, hoping we can get action completed today. Again, this is the state games of Georgia. We'll be back with more shortly from Emerson.
3, 2, 1.
And we're back after an hour and a half weather delay. We are back at it with TL10 and Excel Baseball here, the championship game of the 17U division of the state games of Georgia. Cory, McCartney, Grayson, Rosen with you. Cooper Mincy's back out on the mound, was pitching a 2-0 count to Trey Luke. And now he's got 2-1, make that 3-1 after that delay.
Yeah, always tough to come and pitch out of a weather delay. A lot of times you'd see, especially more maybe at the college and professional level, you'd see them make a pitching change. But it was a depleted staff at the the ending part of a tournament. So since I'm foul, tough spot. Oh, not foul.
Oh, Mincy's got that on the run. That was the second baseman. I thought they all look the same.
Yeah, they're all in the same jersey, so it definitely makes things a little tougher.
So to recap, TL10 got on the board. Nolan Elrod got an RBI single in the first inning. Excel Blue Wave countered. Luke Hauser got an RBI single of his own in the bottom of the frame. We played to a scoreless second, and I just heard some more thunder,
so
unfortunately. So let's see if we can
stay
on the field.
I hope.
Avery Hunt, who you see so often with us on these broadcasts, made the decision about 4:30 that we were going to regain play at 5:05, so that has happened. But again, we're hearing some rumblings in the background. Rain expected here in the Emerson area until about 6:45, so chances are we are not going to avoid a wet finish to this one, but we'll see if we can get this game in. We were supposed to have more games here on Field 9, which we are 11, excuse me. Well, we're on 9 right now.
Yeah.
Field 9, which we are currently on. We are expected to have a couple more games played on this field, but things have been reconfigured. So this is the final game of the day on this field. So hopefully we can get the entirety of this action in. Nealon Halsey goes down on strikes and make their 2 down in the inning.
Nealon's going to need some fresh pine tar on that bat because he just lost it twice in that on swing and misses. So a lot of things to keep in mind here when you talk about these factors in a game. In the rain, not only a problem for the pitcher. Your hitters have got to keep a grip on their bat, or whether you make contact or not, it's just not going to go well if you lose grip on the bat. So a lot to look out for there from that standpoint, but also just how these guys react to an hour and a half of just kind of sitting around.
Reese Grodeman reacts with one shot at the shortstop on the run, able to make the throw to first and get out of it very quick as Trey Luke goes with the pop out. Nealon Halsey strikes out, and Reese Grodeman with the ground out. We're through 2.5 after our delay. We'll be back with more from the Baseball Village.
Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Well, Excel Blue Wave put Cooper Mincy back out after the hour-and-a-half rain delay. We've seen now a pitching change for TL10. Price Strickland is out. Andrew Watson takes over out of Rockmart. He's got a Rockmart battery going on right now. Nealon Halsey behind the plate. Andrew Watson, the 2026 on the mound. He's got a fastball around 85, changeup around 72 to 76, curveball 69 to 73, playing in his 15th prep baseball event. We'll see what he has in store for Excel Blue Wave. They will send to the plate Carson Purdy, be followed by Cooper Anderson, and then Samuel Eliard, the top of the order.
And for anybody who's joining us late, you're very late, but almost right on time, honestly.
Now is the perfect time.
Yeah, but so everybody knows kind of how things went. In the top of the first, TL10 scored one in the first with that Nolan Elrod RBI single, but they strand bases loaded after a couple pretty solid plays in the field by Excel, and then Excel make some quick work offensively in the bottom half. RBI single comes from Luke Hauser, but that gets followed up by Cooper Mincy ground out into a double play to end that inning. Then Mincy comes out back on the mound and just shuts it down 3 straight, 2 strikeouts. And then in the bottom of the second, Price Strickland issues 1 walk but comes out without giving up a run. And then we go into the top of the third. Things get paused in a 2-0 count for Trey Luke. And then we just saw Cooper Mincy return and hold things down for the top of the third. Now we find ourselves here with Excel Blue Wave coming to the plate for the first time in just about 2 hours.
Can't imagine there has been any more of a gut-wrenching AB for Trey Luke than to enter one in a 2-0 count after a hour-and-a-half delay.
Yeah, and you got to give some credit to Cooper Mincy because he pitched really well in that at-bat. Coming back.
So Carson Purdy going to lead things off for Excel Blue Wave. Carson out of Vestavia Hills, 12th ranked third baseman in Alabama, 26, 186 overall in the class. 14th prep baseball event for him. And
I think Nealon thought somebody was going to help him out with that ball that got away, but instead he had to wait on his pitcher to go out and get it. It's going to be another thing is just the rotating baseballs.
Watson rocking the blonde locks like Halsey. Purdy puts that one in play. Shortstop has it. Quick throw. Able to get him for the first out.
Good hands right there at short.
Yeah, Lofton Brown playing short for TL10. So Purdy with the ground out, and here comes Cooper Anderson.
After Anderson, we'll see the top of the lineup for Excel, which is where they got things started off pretty hot there in the first, so hoping to put themselves in a good spot when those guys come back up.
From one Vestavia Hills hitter to another one in Anderson, 2026, 5'9", 146-pounder. That can't be right. It's bigger than 5'9".
Yeah, I think so.
Must be some old numbers there on the prep baseball profile. Anderson
that
puts that in
hard,
play over top the pitcher. Shortstop on the run. Does he get it in time? He does not.
It's 90.7 straight down into the ground.
Will bounce right over the top of the new pitcher for TL10. Be 1 down.
Super tough play there. He almost had him at first, but props to Anderson for running it out.
So Anderson will be at first for Samuel Eliard. Or S.L. Eliard, as we say.
Yes. Or Landon.
Landon.
Got caught up over there. That's another thing to keep in mind. This turf gets, it's almost an entirely different surface when it's wet, and the way that, especially for the runners, how it changes.
Healthy lead for Anderson. We got a ant in the studio.
Yeah,
now.
I already flicked him earlier. I thought he might have that might have been the end of his days, but I guess not.
Well, earlier during the spring, we had some visitors from wasps, and so now we'll move on to some ants, and we would like arrow exterminators to come help us out. All right, 2-0 count here to Eliard. Spanish Fort 2026.
Gets that strike on the outside half.
Watson listed at 6'3", 230 pounds. Runner's taken off. Oh,
Early
man.
slide,
Yeah,
but he
he
got
tried to ride the wave there on the slip and slide. Did not work. And late break, they get him at second.
I mean, if anybody knows how to, kind of manage the water, it should be Excel Blue Wave, but...
Well, you think on this turf that you're going to have to slide a little bit early because it's going to take you, but
he slid really early.
Yeah, that was about right where there's the little pitch up and the top there. He kind of started his slide there, and it was a little bit too early. So now 2 down as the runner gets caught at second base.
I think they had him either way. It was a
I think so
good
too.
throw down
Eliard
from Nealon
fouls that
Halsey.
off.
Now Eliard in a bit of a different spot now with 2 outs and nobody on. Now he's got the full count.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody slide that far away from second base.
I think he maybe overcompensated. Oh, Eliard got all of that one.
95 miles an hour. It's got him on the run. Left fielder Camps underneath it. Does he make the play? Does not. It's going to hit off against the wall. Eliard's making his way to third. Is he going to hold there? Throw bounces to the third baseman, and Samuel Eliard's got himself a 2-out triple, and that caught stealing proves costly here for Excel. Could have had themselves a 2-1 lead. Instead, they'll have a runner at third with 2 down.
Yeah, and I mean, you almost luck out if you're TL10. First of all, you had a great play to throw out the runner, but if he would have just gotten a little less under that one, it's out of the yard, and maybe without the rain, that leaves the yard. But lucky to keep it inside, and now you got 2 outs and still a chance to get out of this unscathed.
Well struck ball by Eliard.
Yeah, 95 off the bat, just a little too much launch angle there.
Now Austin Daniel at the plate with 2 down. Watson pumps that in for a strike at 83.9. Make that 1-1.
And in a game like this, it just proves ever so important to have a good catcher behind the plate, somebody that can block up and really knows his moves, not going to let the ball get to the backstop too much. And you hope that you've got that in Nealon Halsey behind the plate.
Well, you got 2 guys who certainly know each other all too well, both on the same Rockmart High School team here in Georgia. So Halsey and Watson all too familiar with one another. Certainly plays a factor in a game like this, as you mentioned. Comes a 2-1 from Watson. Daniel slips that back foul.
See if Watson can avoid any trouble here following the triple.
Comes with the 2-2 to Daniel. Rips that down the third base side foul.
Just a little too late on that one. Watson taking his time here.
Rain continues to fall here in Emerson, Georgia. Here's the 2-2. Daniel rips that first base, has it. It's going to be a race to the bag. Does he beat him? He does, and they will strand the runner at third. We're still notched up at 1-1. We'll be back. You're watching the State Games of Georgia.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Welcome back to LakePoint Sports. You are watching the State Games of Georgia 17U Championship game. We are all tied up at 1-1. Sat through an hour and a half weather delay. Saw Cooper Mincy, who is at the plate right there, come back out to pitch the third inning after that long delay, and he returns on the mound, and he'll be facing off against Gage Campbell, Nolan Elrod, and Tucker Glenn for TL10. Nolan Elrod delivered the RBI single for TL10 in the first inning. See what he has in store in his second trip to the plate. Very quick inning for Mincy after the long delay. You always wonder, as you mentioned when we came back out there, how is a pitcher going to deal with that kind of a break in the action like that? Are they going to be as sharp? And Mincy was absolutely sharp. And as I say that, he bounces one in front of the catcher. But he was fantastic coming off the long sit, and see what he has in store here as he's come back out for the fourth.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is if you just go straight into the dugout with the mentality of, I want to keep playing. I want to stay in this game as soon as as soon as this delay is over, and you can kind of do the things to keep yourself in good shape. It's when you know that you've got an hour and a half ahead of you, and you sit down on the bench and you just don't do anything. And I can't imagine that's what Cooper Mincy did.
He's got Gage Campbell, another Rockmart player on this team. Six Rockmart players in all on TL10, by the way. Here's the 1-0 to Campbell. He swings through that. 84.4 out of the hands of Mincy.
Yeah, we saw Mincy pushing 89 in his first inning of work, and then and in the second, and then in that third inning when he first came out, we saw the velo was down because it was pouring rain. Now, velo is a little bit lower than we saw earlier, but still on pace with probably what he'd like to have right now.
He has 43 pitches in. That one, last one registered 2,200 spin. Campbell fouls that back.
Campbell's having no problem seeing the pitches right now, just trying to get one he could put the barrel on.
He's got exit velos around 95 miles an hour.
Trying to dry those hands off on his wet pants.
Dribbler Mincy jumps up. He's got it. Flips it to first in time for the out.
Got to get athletic for that one.
Pitchers are athletes too. Cooper Mincy wants you to know that. One down, as we'll now see Nolan Elrod. Last time at the plate, he drove in a run. Elrod, Cartersville, 2026.
Just missed on the outside.
Talking to Tyler Hickman, Cartersville 2029, who will be at the Junior Feature Games. By the way, Elrod was at the Junior Feature Games in 2021. Living in Cartersville and LakePoint Sports being in your backyard, you kind of have a different sense of it. And it doesn't, maybe for guys who come from other parts of the country, maybe this place means something else to them.
Yeah.
For guys from Cartersville, it's almost like this expectation that you want to be the next guy from Cartersville to go there and show out. Elrod, chance to do that now, as you already seen him drive in one run in this one.
Yeah, I think that goes for a lot of the guys around here. It seems like the guys that play at Cartersville or Allatoona or any of those surrounding schools, when they step on campus, it's always an elevated performance. We see it at Cooper Underwood is probably a prime example. He's one who, it seems like every time he steps foot on campus and has an appearance, it is just stellar. And I think that's just because he's a fantastic player in the first place. But I do think that the guys that are local to here and have an understanding of kind of what they're getting into and what it means to play on these fields, they always seem to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that they don't. So if you're from somewhere else in the country and you come here, there's a little bit of a mystique to this place. But the guys who are local, it's like, no, I expect to be the next guy from here to go out and show out and set the standard as we see him go down on strikes. And Cooper Mincy's now got 2 down here in the inning.
And Mincy's no stranger here. His Bremen squad made their way here for Georgia Dugout Club in February.
But I think there's certainly something to be said where you see somebody else do it and you're like, I can do that. I want to be the next guy to do that. And we are seeing that from these local players here, and we have seen that time and again. It's in for a strike.
And it's also nice as we get into the summer as well to still see that local representation show up and show out here in these games that we're spotlighting.
This is now Tucker Glenn at the plate.
A great start to this one for Mincy.
He's got an 0-2 count. Mincy's already struck out 4.
See if he can do it all in this inning. He has a strikeout and a play that he made himself there. There it is, strike 3.
Make that 5 strikeouts for Cooper Mincy. He has been absolutely dealing. We're through another half an inning. You're watching the State Games of Georgia from LakePoint Sports. It'll be Luke Hauser, Cooper Mincy, and Jake Powell at the plate for Excel Blue Wave American, facing off again against Andrew Watson, who stepped in relief for TL10 after the weather delay.
Yeah, Watson looked really good in that bottom of the third. We'll see if he can continue some good work. Kind of an interesting thing we get on both sides. So Cooper Mincy, we saw he stays in the game after the rain delay. TL10 elects to switch pitchers, and we'll see what Watson can do from here.
Hauser, who will face to start things off here, is 1 for 1. The rain's starting to let up again. It's supposed to be in the area until about 6:45, so it will remain a factor. And frankly, as we saw with that slide attempt in the last inning for Excel Blue Wave, I think the wet field is going to be a factor for the duration of this game. Is Nealon Halsey wearing a visor, or is those sunglasses?
I can't quite. I think he might just have the built-in visor in the helmet, so he's just not going to change it. If you're wearing sunglasses right now,
I don't know.
A lot of questions.
Well, we had somebody wearing sunglasses in the back of their head during with the rain pouring down.
I mean, to some degree, that's just like anybody that has like their batting gloves in their back pocket.
That's
in the
true.
Field.
Yeah.
Nice. If you're actually wearing the sunglasses, that's I'd love to catch up with you after the game.
Mountain Brook's Luke Hauser has a 1-1 count. Ball got away from Halsey, back against the backstop. Blue's going to go pick that one up for him.
Got to get our on-deck guys rolling.
Yeah, where are you?
Halsey just barely saved that one from getting right back to just as wet as it was. All right, now we're going to resume play.
All right, 2-1 count here to Luke Hauser, Cooper Mincy in the on-deck circle. Hauser sends that back foul.
Make it 2-2. See if Watson might have something in the bag of tricks here to record the first out. Real closed stance. You don't really see a foot get that far on the white there, but really crowding the plate.
On the ground, second base has it, gathers, throws in time for the out. Be one down now for Mincy.
Yeah, Hauser really crowded the plate there and then ends up getting cut off a little bit on that pitch. You almost wonder if it would have been in his best interest not to be there.
Now in steps Mincy, already 5 strikeouts for himself on the mound. See if he can make something happen now at the plate.
I mean, theoretically, it only goes up from where he started. Grounded out into a double play in the first at bat. So you can see if he can maybe start something here to help himself out on the other end.
Looking awfully sharp on the mound, but he is Georgia's 39th ranked shortstop in 26. Exit velo is around 90 miles an hour, bat speed north of 71. He absolutely rips that 93.7.
Oh,
man, that one's off the wall. Cooper Mincy's making his way into second base, going to have himself a 1-out double. And, man, showing out with the arm, showing out with the bat. Cooper Mincy is having a day for Excel Blue Wave.
I mean, once again, another ball that got real close to leaving the yard, but doesn't quite sneak out. But Cooper Mincy getting something started here, just 1 out in the bottom of the fourth. And
he roped that ball.
Is he going to get a pinch runner? That's my question.
No. Let the man run. We've seen him throw. We've seen him hit. I want to see him run. So Mincy will be at second. I'll bring up Jake Powell.
I mean, you can't – I don't think you could argue for anybody else benefiting from this rain delay more.
Yeah.
He has come out. He's stayed on the mound and just kept rolling, and he goes from grounding out to a double play before to hitting a double to the wall.
Well, Cooper Mincy wants to be the player of the game presented by IHG, and he is making a very strong case here as we set in the bottom of the fourth.
Big swing and a miss right there from Jake Powell.
Demopolis 2026.
Maybe Cooper Mincy just knows this is the state games of Georgia, and he's the one Georgia guy in the lineup. True. He's got to step up.
He's got to rise up.
Yeah, put on for the state. Watson taking his time. Watson might need to stretch out his neck after that one. Looked back and forth quite a few times. He's making me dizzy.
Well, the same thing with Jake Powell and his bat. Look, it's like a train. It starts at his foot, and then it goes all the way up to the bat. And it's perpetual motion here.
It's all about timing.
See that again. It's like it started out with just a little quiver of the foot, and the next thing you know, it's into his legs, and then it's all the way up into the bat.
Moved like diagonally through his body. Let's see it.
All right, there goes the foot. Yeah, the foot's moving. Now there goes it into the hip. Now into the hands.
You can see it a little bit in the shoulders.
Yeah, let's let that bat move in 0-2.
Big swing and a miss.
Goes down on strikes. Watson's got himself the K. Now 2 down in the inning with Mincy standing at second.
See if Watson once again can just kind of escape some trouble here.
Now Jack Hauser's turn.
We saw in Watson's last inning that he's not afraid of people getting extra bases. So we'll see if he can pitch out of it this time. Last time it was Samuel Elyard almost left the park, and then Cooper Mincy just barely stayed in the yard as well. We'll see if he can keep Mincy still there at second base and send Mincy back out to the mound.
Comes a 2-1. Swings through that. Make it 2-2.
Good breaking ball right there. I believe that one made it 2-1. That's what our umpire showed.
All right, so we'll see the 2-1 here. Again, you got Cooper Mincy at second off the double. Sends that back foul.
Now we got 2-2. Let's see if Watson can get out of trouble once again. Got some swagger walking back up onto the mound, too.
All right, here comes the 2-2. Bringing into the inning. They're going to strand Cooper Mincy at second off that double, and we've seen both teams unable to capitalize in the fourth inning. We are on to the fifth. You're watching the 17U championship game from the state games of Georgia.
We're here at LakePoint Sports, the site of the first Curve Test Center. There will be lots of Curve Test Centers, but this will always be the first. And why are we here? Here for a couple of reasons. One is if you think about the effort players are spending trying to get coaches to notice them, the effort coaches are spending trying to figure out who's actually any good, the poor parents who are sitting there saying, where's my kid headed? This is the answer for all that.
Everyone wants to be seen, right? Sometimes what can be seen is data. So it's hard to get in front of coaches at all these programs at once, or even the school you really want to go to. So using data helps us a ton. And as long as it's reliable and there's something that can give us better information with the small sample size is what we're looking for.
Curve Test Centers is redefining player and performance data when it comes to evaluation and recruiting. Test your athletic, cognitive, and baseball skills. With TrackMan, Proteus, and more, visit at the Bubble here on the LakePoint Sports campus or sign up now at curvetestcenter.com. Don't miss this chance to level up your game. Our action continues here. Top of the fifth inning, Cooper Mincy back on the mound for Excel Blue Wave has been fantastic. He has allowed 2 base runners, 5 strikeouts, no walks. He is now facing off against Bryce Davis, Seth Jeter to follow, and then it'll be Lofton Brown. 57 pitches so far for Mincy, including an hour-and-a-half rain delay. The last one at 83.7. Count now 2-1.
Got 86 from him there, but misses low. See if he can reel this one back. 3-1. Going to miss again.
Issues his first walk, just his 3rd base runner, as we said here in the 5th inning. Now it'll be Seth Jeter. Jeter on his way to Georgia Highlands out of Maynard Jackson.
Another one of the guys in this game that has already graduated.
As my newly graduated son would say, that means he's at UNC status.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no room to say, as I'm older than them, but
you're not playing against kids who are still in high school.
Yeah, that's
you're out
true.
Of high school.
That's true.
There was what I believe 3 players on this TL10, 4 players in this TL10 roster that are high school graduates.
And 2 of them head into Georgia Highlands.
The 1-0 to Jeter. That's in for a strike at 83.4 out of the hands of Mincy. I don't want to get into the realities that in order to have UNC status, you actually have to, like, someone has to have a nephew or
sibling,
niece. But
sibling has to have a kid.
Yeah, that rationale didn't seem to go over too well in my house. The count's now 1-2 off there. Foul off.
I'm sure that only ramped up the UNC status accusations.
Right. Yeah. All right, the count is now 1-2 to Jeter. He's not going to be able to wear those pink accents at Highlands. That's not gonna play well. Dash O'Neal in his New York Mets-esque uniforms. Jeter shoots that one, 84.8 off his bat on the run. Oh, man, did the right fielder make a ridiculous catch. Runner's going to retreat back to first base, and, man, what a fantastic catch. Cooper Anderson absolutely hauls that in, making up for that base running when he slid about 20 feet away from second base and makes himself a fantastic grab and right.
Yeah, he seemed like he almost overran it a little bit and had to reach back for it.
Whew, man, that was a catch.
Good work by Bryce Davis to not get caught up and get all the way back to first base, but what a catch out there and right.
Now Lofton Brown, the shortstop.
One of the things I talked about before we came back from the break is if you can get that pickoff right and you time it up good, with this weather, it's a little bit harder to get the grip. Guys can't turn back as fast. You see Mincy trying to capitalize on that with Bryce Davis at first. But sometimes you can just luck out and a guy just won't catch his footing right, and you'll beat him there to first. Catches the inside there for a strike.
All right, here comes Mincy with the 1-1. Look at this as Hunter Cousins at the plate. We had some changes based off of what we were given from the pregame lineup. We had the expectation that Roderick Ware was the DH, but Roderick has not appeared in this game. Here comes the 2-2 from Mincy. Throws back over to first.
Maybe he's trying to pressure Bryce Davis into stealing.
Cousins sends that back foul.
If you keep throwing it over, you put into the runner's mind that when he doesn't throw over, you should probably go.
Well, maybe he'll throw over 3 times, and then the first baseman will tell him he can't throw over here anymore.
Yeah, and you see Bryce Davis getting a little bit bigger lead here now.
Thinking that we are playing by Major League rules.
Now you got a 3-2 count with 1 out. Once again, that base runner, super important in what he does over there at first.
Comes payoff pitch to Cousins.
Got way under that one.
Yeah, sure did.
Going to stay in play.
It's a mystery.
It sure did stay in play, and it did get caught.
Okay, it did get caught. All right, so make it 2 down as our camera did not pan back for that one. So it'll be 2 down now as see TL10 turn it over to Lofton Brown. So we just had a break in what we thought was the order there. So we had Cousins and now Lofton Brown, the shortstop, will hit.
Let's see if Brown can move around Bryce Davis, if he'll even get the chance.
Brown 0 for 1. Mincy at 71 pitches now.
If you count the throws over, maybe 80.
Brown from Whitefield Academy, 12th prep baseball event for this 5'10", 143-pounder. Ooh, has to jump out of the way of that one. Davis takes off for second. So some remnants of that rain spitting. Again, we're expected to be in the area for about another 45 minutes to an hour.
See what we get from Mincy here. Find himself in a tough count.
That's in for a strike, makes it 2-1. Rips that in 85 for a strike.
See if he can find his way out of the trouble he's got right now with Bryce Davis in scoring position.
We have seen stranded runners be a storyline this last inning and a half. Has it at second, throws in time. 1 left at second. We are still tied at 1-1 as we roll along. You're watching the state games at Georgia.
Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Andrew Watson returns on the mound for TL10 here in the bottom of the 5th, and he will be opposed by Wyatt Garner, Jacob Burgos, and Carson Purdy for Excel Blue Wave American. Still tied up at 1-1. Cory McCartney, Grayson, Rosen with you. This is the 17U championship game from the state games of Georgia. We had about an hour and a half delay from weather. Started out as rain, and then we heard that thunder, and that was the last thing we wanted to hear here in Emerson, Georgia, because you know that's going to extend the delay, and we sat through an hour and a half, but we are back inching towards a champion here in the first major event of the summer. Wyatt Garner's going to step in for Excel Blue Wave Hillcrest 2026.
Watson going to try to avoid any trouble here in this inning. The last 2 innings he's pitched, gave up a triple with 2 outs. In the first inning he pitched, and then a double with 1 out, and still ended up getting out of it, but immediately allows a base runner with a hit by pitch on the first one.
So he puts Garner at first. He had runners, as you mentioned, further down into scoring position in both of the last 2 innings, but was able to slam the door and keep this a 1-1 game. He's now got Jacob Burgos with Wyatt Garner at first. Burgos, Pell City 2026. He's 0 for 1, swing and a miss on that, 81.4 out of Watson's hands.
Yeah, Watson's been generating a ton of swing and miss. I think part of it just being that he doesn't necessarily blow you away, but his placement is pinpoint.
Oh, misses high. Garner's going to take off for a second.
I had to say something nice.
It feels like, it feels like he's getting a lot of rise on that fastball, and I think that one in particular just a little bit too much for Holsey as it shot towards the backstop.
Yeah. Well, outside of that one, he can place the ball extremely well and has in this appearance so far.
Well, for the 3rd straight half inning, we have a runner in scoring position.
And it's the first time it was 2 outs. Last time it was 1 out. This time no outs. See if he's still able to pitch his way out of it, or if Excel is going to put themselves in the run column.
Burgos rocket off of his bat, 97.3. Left fielder cannot make the play. Runner's going to take off. Garner's trucking towards home. He's going to be in to get a second run for Excel Blue Wave, and Jacob Burgos coming through big time with the RBI double.
Yeah, ever since we got back from the rain delay, Excel Blue Wave's been knocking on the door, and right there, they barged in.
That'll bring up Carson Purdy with a runner at second and nobody out, and now a 2-1 lead for Excel Blue Wave, and that new run, that second run, feels massive considering what we've sat through here and just watched these teams unable to break through, and Excel finally does here in the 5th to take the lead.
Yeah, 97 off the bat as well. Just absolutely caught all of it.
Feels like it could be an entrant into our moment that matters there.
That's for sure. Excel Blue Wave certainly happy that they're getting this kind of result right now, especially out of the bottom part of their lineup, too.
Miss going to make it 1-1. Watson steps off. Yeah, so these, I mean, think about the top in the top of the 4th, in the 4th inning, you had the caught stealing on the early slide. Samuel Elliard gets a triple, unable to get a run off that. Ooh, comes across, and there it is again. More of the slip and slide. Yeah. So we had Samuel Elliard gets the triple, but they're unable to get anything through on that. Had they not had the caught stealing, they would have had a run. But then Mincy stranded at second off of a double, and finally we saw Jacob Burgos cash in. So as you said, Excel Blue Wave had been knocking on the door, and they finally have a 2-1 lead.
Oh, and that one's put out to left field.
That one drops down for a base hit. Burgos makes his way home as Purdy's got himself an RBI single. Still nobody out, and Excel Blue Wave leads 3-1.
Yeah, that's a big stolen base by Burgos. He had a fantastic jump off second base, and Nealon Holsey just had no time at all to make a throw down to third. So we're going to see a mound visit right now, and based off the body language that I'm translating, Watson's not happy with whatever the coach's decision may be. Yeah, he's going to leave this game.
All right, so a pitching change for TL10. It'll be their 3rd arm of the game, and we'll tell you about them when we come back from LakePoint Sports.
First one I picked up, I just liked it the best. And like I said, I tried a lot of different companies, a lot of different models, and I fell in love with Old Hickory for sure.
We've got Gage Campbell on the mound for TL10 here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Excel Blue leads 3-1 in the state games of Georgia 17U championship game.
Gage Campbell, another Rockmart
That's
pitcher.
right, yeah. We have Cooper Anderson at the plate, fouls that one off. Rockmart went on a nice little run in the GHSA state playoffs. So it would stand to reason that they would have so many players that would be ready to make some noise this summer, and they're doing so for TL10 here, reaching the championship game in the state games of Georgia.
And we talked about it at the beginning of the broadcast, but TL10 with a fantastic run through this, both teams really. I mean, Excel Blue Wave was a national or was a wild card spot, and then TL10 took down Excel Blue Wave National, who was the #1 seed in the first round. Both of these teams should be incredibly happy about getting to this point, and whoever goes home victorious will be a little bit happier.
Campbell said when he was at the plate, stands 6'4", 220 pounds. He's the 9th-ranked first baseman in Georgia, but also works it up around 87 on the mound. So has a changeup, curveball, and slider. He has a 1-1 count here to Anderson, the last batter in the order for Excel Blue Wave American. Miss high makes it 2-1.
Let's see what Cooper Anderson's got. No outs, runner on first, trying to keep things rolling in what's been a big bottom of the 5th. He goes. Great throw from Nealon.
Oh, gets over. Oh, man, a bit of a collision there with the shortstop. Ball gets away from him.
That's kind of a side effect of this rain that we talked about, and how those slides, you're going to slide a little bit more through the bag. When you're trying to receive that throw down at short or second, you are at risk of getting hit in the shins.
So something to watch with Gage Campbell on the mound is he's already thrown 44 pitches today, pitching against 6'4", DP Jaguars. Went 2 2/3 in that one. Struck out 4, allowed 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned.
And that was the semifinal game.
So he pitched in the game just before this, which, you know, obviously we had a delay between the two games because another game was played on this field. But they were also the hour-and-a-half rain delay, so it's not as though he's going from back-to-back games pitching, but he has already pitched once today, again throwing 44 pitches.
Yes, you can almost expect that this potentially a short relief. You're not going to see him throw, another 50, 60 pitches, you'd assume. He probably hopes he doesn't either.
Yeah. Payoff pitch, swing and a miss, and he gets himself a strikeout, be the first out of the inning.
Big swing and a miss right there from Cooper Anderson, but now you're going to bring up Samuel Elliard, who just about left the yard in the first, or in his second at bat. We'll see if he can maybe rewrite his wrongs here. Just blow the doors open for Excel.
Watches that one for ball 1.
Seen a healthy mix of the breaking ball already.
Make it 2-0.
See what Campbell's got here.
Calls a strike inside. Yeah, Elliard, a triple in the 3rd inning. Also drew a walk in his first AB.
You scored that first run of the game that was ever so important, and now trying to make something happen here.
High strike makes it 2-2.
Hasn't really seen one he's liked yet. See if he offers on something here.
Campbell misses. That one gets away from Halsey, and runner will advance to third. So Blue Wave has plated 2 runs in this inning. There's just 1 out, and that coming off that Campbell strikeout.
You certainly have to appreciate the patience from Excel Blue Wave. You haven't really seen them jump on a first pitch. They've allowed themselves to get to 2 strikes and still visibly been comfortable in the batter's box. So see what Eliard's got here on a 3-2 count with just 1 out and that runner on third.
Yeah, they have been awfully impressive at the plate today, and that one's right up the middle.
Perfect.
And here comes another run. Eliard gets an RBI single. He's on base for the 3rd time today, and Excel Blue Wave now has a 4-1 lead.
Yeah, that's a picture-perfect approach on 3-2, especially when you have that runner on third base. You know anything through the infield is going to score that run. Great work right there from Samuel Eliard.
Austin Daniel now at the plate, and I mean, we shouldn't be surprised by anything Excel Blue Wave American does offensively. They have scored 22 runs in their first 2 games today. Allowed just 4.
See if they can make it a clean 30. Add 4 more in this game. Make it a nice 30 on bracket day.
Austin Daniel rips that foul, 94.5 off his bat. I mean, they scored 12 runs in a win over Beat Hustle Baseball on Monday. They have just been piling up the runs. Played a tight one in their first game on Saturday, beating 9th Inning Royals 6-4. Then it was a shutout win over Game On Elite by a score of 4-0 on Sunday. And since then, they have just ratcheted it up offensively.
You don't see a 94.5 foul like that foul very often. He was so early, but got every bit of it.
The 0-2 to Daniel, runner's taken off, and that one just misses down the third base side.
That one would have been
all kinds of trouble.
That would have snuck inside third base. Might have been looking at a run score with that runner getting the early little hit and run steal there.
So we've seen him go hard hit ball down the first base side, hard hit ball down the third base side.
It's only natural that he times it up perfectly here.
He's got an 0-2 count. Make that 1-2.
And misses high with the breaking ball. See if Campbell can try and slow the bleeding. That's kind of what his job entailed coming into this one, but not much has changed thus far.
Eliard can absolutely fly, and that one's going to get through into right field. Is he going to hold it second? He's going to. He will, in fact, hold it second.
Got to be careful with a heavy turn like that. You might slip and have a mouthful of turf.
You run a 6.68 60, and you got the confidence you can get there even on a shallow hit ball into right, but Eliard's going to stay put at second with a 4-1 lead. There'll be runners at first and second now for Luke Hauser.
Yeah, Gage Campbell really hoping that he can maybe have one of these guys put something on the ground, set up a double play like how they got out of their first inning, but you just want to try and limit the damage from here on out.
Misses high, yeah. Again, he threw 44 pitches in the game before this. He's now up to 18 in this relief appearance.
You also have to think, if they're going to him and he just pitched, how much other pitching do they really have available?
It makes you wonder, are we going to see guys who pitched previous games for them maybe go out, can you give me 1 inning?
Yeah.
Swing and a miss. Makes it 1-1. Selfishly, I want to see Reese Rodman come out there, so I'm wondering after his 10 strikeouts. But
unfortunately,
I
think his complete game pretty well took him off the list for today.
You're probably right. I'm sure Reese would be more than willing, though, if you put him back out there.
I don't know if his coaches at Georgia Southern
probably not
would want him throwing that many more pitches today, but I'm sure Reese would be more than open.
Three pitchers so far today for TL10. Cooper Mincy remains the only arm to take the mound for Excel Blue Wave.
This has been a long inning. You got to keep in mind that Mincy was down for an hour and a half, came back out, has been killing it, but once again getting a bit of a long break here. Now that we get later into the start, it gets a little bit harder to take that long break. Double steal on the perfect pitch for it. Yeah, another guy over sliding third base there.
Hulsey unable to cleanly glove that one, and count will now be full. Runners at second and third now for Hauser.
Last time around for Hauser, he hit one onto the ground to the second baseman. Got a little bit cut off at the hands. Big swing and a miss right there.
So he goes down on strikes, make that 2 strikeouts for Gage Campbell, and that will bring up Cooper Mincy.
Certainly helps Campbell out a ton. You had runners in scoring position, 1 out, makes it 2 outs, and now you just hope that either you get the strikeout or your defense can help you out here.
So the one thing we'll say about Mincy, it's not as though he's just been sitting on the bench. You know, he's made his way all the way around the bases once, scoring a run, and now he's up for the second time in this inning.
I thought that was the inning before, right? Did he hit the double and then he got stranded on second?
Oh, you're right. All right.
But I don't think we had gotten through the lineup here.
Well, it feels as though he's constantly.
He made some quick work in the bar in the top of the 5th, so it sure felt like a short break from seeing him. See if he can make something happen here with 2 outs.
Ooh, big swing and a miss, makes it 1-2.
I think Gage Campbell is channeling something from deep within here to try and get himself out of this jam. Here's the 1-2. Spits on that one. Make it 2-2. Like we talked about, Excel Blue Wave, not afraid to be patient, not afraid to hit with 2 strikes on them.
Comes Campbell with the 2-2. Mincy's going to watch the count go full.
At the full count, first base is open, so you're not going to see an immediate run from these runners.
Well, Mincy puts that in play. Center fielder on the one that's going to drop down, score 1 run. Here comes a second run. Cooper Mincy's got himself 2 RBI off that, and his day just continues to grow in stature.
I mean, he is it's like he knew that he had a chance at Player of the Game presented by IHG, and he's certainly making himself quite a claim for it.
Now 2 for 3. He's got an extra base hit, 2 RBI. He struck out 5 over 5 innings and has just been electric so far for Excel Blue Wave.
Let's see if they can just keep it rolling. Jake Powell coming up now. Going to try and move Mincy around the base paths this time. Gage Campbell just trying to get out of this inning of work. We mentioned a couple times now that he's already pitched today, pitched in their last game. So you can expect that he wanted a short showing here.
Powell swings through that. Count now 0-2.
See what Campbell's got to try and soften the blow here.
Here comes that transfer of energy from Powell. From his foot all the way up to that waggling bat. Swings through that one. And Campbell got himself 3 strikeouts, but Excel Blue Wave extended the lead to 6-1. We back here watching the state games of Georgia from LakePoint Sports.
The The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Welcome back to LakePoint Sports. We have a pitching change for Excel Blue Wave. Cooper Mincy's day on the mound is over. Looks like their new pitcher is going to be Jake Powell's taking over after playing shortstop. He'll slide over to the mound, and Mincy's day comes to an end after 5 innings. He allowed 2 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, and was just absolutely fantastic. And I think the most impressive thing to me off of what we saw from him on the mound was the fact that he did it after sitting an hour and a half through that delay.
I mean, that's arguably as impressive as what he's also done at the plate. When you factor all these things together, he started this game. Yes, he gave up the run in the first inning, and he bounced back and was dominant since. And in the middle of that dominance was an hour and a half long break, and he comes out, hits a booming double that nearly leaves the yard. Then he comes out with the 2 RBI single here in the top of this inning. So, in the bottom of the 5th. So, Cooper Mincy has had quite a day here, and we'll see if Excel Blue Wave can hold on to it. I think he more than earned his chance to get a break from the mound now.
All right, so Powell is going to be facing off against the top of the order. So it'll be Trey Luke, Nealon Holsey, and Reese Grodeman for TL10. Trying to get something started. They gave up 5 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning. Luke shows bunt, pulls back.
Is that Jack Hauser on the mound? I believe that's number 8, not number 9. Well, that one's crushed out to right field. Is that one going to leave the yard?
No, it's going to hit off the wall. Going to make his way into second base. Luke's got himself a leadoff double. Oh, he nearly came off the bag.
He stayed, luckily. Very
able
lucky.
To stay put and got himself a leadoff double, 90.9 off his bat. Yeah, I think we had some confusion there on our scoreboard. Now they have reverted back to Cooper Mincy on the mound, which I know he's been fantastic, but he is not making a return here in this one.
I believe we have number 8 on the mound, which with our roster lines up to Jack Hauser.
All right, so we'll go with Jack Hauser on the mound.
Pitching to his twin brother.
Oh, you got to love that.
Yeah.
All right, so Nealon Holsey at the plate now. He's got Trey Luke at second off the leadoff double.
How many times are they going to tease us with these 90-plus exit velo to the wall before one just happens to creep over the fence?
Holsey sends that back foul. This game in particular is your refresher into this summer of baseball, and we see these kind of exit velos consistently because we did not see that throughout the spring.
That is for sure. Even though they had metal bats.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe these guys are still getting used to their wood bats. They've been hitting metal all spring for the high school season.
I'll buy that. Misses high, and Holsey draws the walk, so runners at first and second with nobody out.
Speaking of bats, I think it's about time we revisit the conversation that we had just months ago when this season kind of got started in the spring with the torpedo bats. Our old Hickory spot over here is selling them.
Oh, nice.
They've got torpedo bats. I haven't seen any that necessarily jumped out at me. I'm sure some people have been sporting some out here, but haven't quite seen one in game action.
Reese Grodeman trying to get his team back into this game on one swing as he goes through that 80.7 mile an hour offering.
Unfortunately, one swing will still end you with a 2-run deficit. So
make it 0-2 now.
Better to play things smart here. You're Grodeman and try and creep back into this one.
He's got runners at first and second, no outs here in the 6th. And swings through that one, and he'll be the first out off of that strikeout. Jack Hauser getting a big K there, and now see Gage Campbell, who came in relief in the 5th.
Straight
runner takes off for third. Get the bag and get Campbell at first.
That one just came off the bat way too slow to make any play there to second. 44.9 exit velo off the hands.
So you get a strikeout from Grodeman, Campbell with the ground out. Now it'll bring Nolan Elrod to the plate with 2 down, 2 on.
Now Jack Hauser going to try and get out of this one clean.
Going to miss high. Elrod delivered the first RBI of this game. Now count 2-0. Had himself an RBI single in the top of the 1st. Now he has a 2-1 count. So Blue Wave did counter that. Luke Hauser came through with an RBI single of his own. Elrod rips that into center field on the run. Can he make a play? He does, and they will strand 2. Excel Blue Wave continues to lead 6-1. We're marching on to the bottom of the 6th inning in the state games of Georgia.
Hot summer days call for cool adventures in Cartersville, Museum City. Beat the heat indoors with jaw-dropping exhibits at TELUS Science Museum and the Savoy Automobile Museum. Hit the water at Terminus Wake Park, kayak the Etowah River, or head to Lake Allatoona for fishing, boating, and unbeatable lake days. When the sun sets, head downtown for live music, delicious eats, and local flavors. From family fun to date nights, summer memories start here. Plan your trip today at cartersvillemuseumcity.com.
Our LakePoint Sports photographers deliver at the highest level, taking you inside the action here across campus. Yes, we've got game day covered, and now you can not only see your game through our lens, but you can purchase photos as well. Just use the QR code on screen for the latest images with galleries uploaded after the completion of tournaments and events. The State Games of Georgia photos expected to be online by Wednesday afternoon. You can also go to LakePointSports.com for more information. Welcome back. Cory McCartney, Grayson Rosen with you. Got a pitching change now for TL10. We'll wait to get word on who's pitching for them. If you joined us for past broadcasts, typically we have another camera, an outfield shot that comes in, but AI is not cooperating with us this afternoon, so we've only got the high home shot of this matchup. And these TL10 uniforms are a little bit hard to read. That and the fact that I'm wearing glasses, so
yeah,
kind of tells you everything you need to know. But we will see.
Oh, it looked like maybe we caught a 22 there. Is there a 22? Roderick Ware.
So we thought we were going to see Roderick Ware as the DH to start off this game. Had the expectation he was not participating in this one, but he is in fact pitching in relief now. The Cedartown 2026 comes in the bottom of the 6th inning in a 6-1 game. He's got a fastball around 77, changeup 65 to 69, and a curveball at 67, and he'll be facing off against Jake Powell, who took over on the mound. Excuse me, Jack Hauser, I'm sorry, who took over on the mound for Excel Blue Wave in the top of the inning. Part of that Hauser battery for Excel Blue Wave. He's 0 for 2. We've seen 9 hits for Excel Blue Wave, 3 to this point for TL10. Chops that foul, yeah.
Swing on that one. Big breaking ball off the hands of Ware.
If Hauser takes the mound in the top of the 7th, he'll do so with the intention of locking this win down for Excel Blue Wave, and he rips that 95.1 off his bat. He'll now be standing at first base with a leadoff single, his first hit of the day.
There's nothing better than just seeing that exit velo light up with a big number like we have been in this game. Just love to see guys just getting a hold of them.
Yet to see triple digits in that department. We did see that quite a few times this spring in our high school games.
Yeah, once again, go to the wood bats, and we're in the rain. A little bit tougher to be talking triple digits, but I'm sure we'll get there sometime this summer.
Wyatt Garner, the first baseman, steps in. Garner does not have a hit today. He has drawn a walk, scored a run. He'll be followed by Jacob Burgos. Burgos really changed the tenor of this game in the 5th inning. RBI double. Miss high. Feeds getting some pixelation like a scrambling 1980s cable box.
I think that's a factor of the weather, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that? Was that a balk?
Believe they did call a balk on Ware. Yeah, umpires explaining it to him. Count now 2-1. Runner at second, nobody out. If you're just joining us and wondering how a game that started at 3 o'clock is still on, Garner's going to push that into right field. Going to hold at third, so there'll be runners at the corners now. Garner with the single, that'll bring up Jacob Burgos. But if you're joining us a little late on this one, we started off, we're rolling along, and then in the 3rd inning, rain crept in, and then thunder and lightning, and we were sitting in an hour-and-a-half rain delay, and since then the biggest delay has been the one that Cooper Mincy put on TL10's bats as he came out firing after that delay. His offense has more than backed him up. Jacob Burgos, as we mentioned, broke this game open with an RBI double in the 5th inning. And that started what was a 5-run 5th for Excel. They were knocking on the door, though, in the bottom of the 3rd and the 4th before Burgos broke through. Sends that one foul.
And they certainly have a chance here to continue to pile them on. A runner on first right now with no outs.
Well, the good thing for them is there should be no further threat of weather.
Getting a defensive substitution. Middle of the inning.
I believe Reese Grodeman just returned to third base.
Yeah.
Runner taken off for second. Halsey will smartly hold that with a runner at third.
Excel Blue Waves still don't have a full grasp on when to slide just yet on either second or third base. We've seen a number of guys slide right past, but it came close to hurting them, but hasn't just yet. Wow, it's ripped down the line, but foul. 84.9. With that double play out of order, Ware's certainly in a tougher position.
Burgos puts that down the right side, and that's going to go foul. Excel now has 11 hits to 3 for TL10.
And I mentioned it when Excel kind of blew this thing open in the 5th, that they have not changed their approach whatsoever. They're still patient. Right here you've seen Burgos. It's only a 1-2 count. Feels like he's been up for ages because he's just waiting on a pitch that he likes, and otherwise he's going to foul it off if it's in the zone, and we'll see if he can kind of break through somewhere.
Burgos, Pell City 2026. He's the 24th ranked outfielder in Alabama, 118 overall in the class. Swing and a miss. He goes down on strikes. Ware gets the first out of the inning via the strikeout. Now turn it over to Carson Purdy. Purdy is 1 for 2. Had an RBI single of his own in the 5th, scoring Burgos after that run-scoring double.
Be a great time for one right now. Oh.
Yeah, Purdy puts this one in play, has the center fielder on the run. That one's all the way to the wall. Here comes a run for Excel, make it 7. Here comes their 8th run.
Man.
And Purdy is going all the way to third base. He's going to hold there, and wow, he's got the slide down as he comes to a jump there and gets some love from the third base coach and extends this lead to 8-1 with one out here in the 6th.
And it looks like he's going to force a pitching change. We saw Coach pointing to the bullpen. What a piece of hitting right there in a huge spot from Carson Purdy.
Yep, Ware is going to exit the game. Carson Purdy has extended this lead to 8-1. We'll be back. You're watching the state games of Georgia. We'll tell you about the new arm from TL10.
First one I picked up, I just liked it the best. And like I said, I tried a lot of different companies, a lot of different models, and I fell in love with Old Hickory for sure.
Welcome back to LakePoint Sports, the state games of Georgia. This is the 17U championship game. Excel Blue Wave has taken an 8-1 lead over TL10 as we set in the bottom of the 6th inning. We were all notched up at 1-1. Then we went into an hour-and-a-half rain delay. And after knocking on the door, Excel Blue Wave broke through with 5 runs in the 5th. They have added 2 more runs here in the 6th inning to extend this lead. And now have a new arm on the mound for TL10, and believe we are now looking at Bryce Davis stepping in. Takes over for Roderick Ware. We so far have seen 4 pitchers for TL10. They started off with Price Strickland. It was Andrew Watson, Gage Campbell, Roderick Ware, and now Bryce Davis.
Yeah, certainly put them in a tough spot, having to change pitchers coming out of the rain delay. And I talked about it when we came back. You had, kind of one side that went with maybe the traditional method, which is when you sit out for an hour and a half, you're probably going to make a pitching change. But it just seems like at this point in the tournament, I don't know if they had enough fresh arms to maybe support that happening.
And I would think you look at what Reese Grodeman was able to do, going with a complete game in his
certainly should have helped
game
you
before
out.
this. You would think that would clear you to have enough arms to get through something like this, but certainly that delay changed all the plans that TL10 had, and they thus far have seen Excel Blue Wave just open things up offensively after the delay and have raced to 12 hits in this one. That one is skied into left field, and he will be out. Throw to home from Grodeman's going to be late. Make it 9-1 here with now 2 outs in the 6th.
Yeah, this is exactly the inning that Excel Blue Wave wanted, and it actually looks like they're going to call this one.
Believe that is going to be it. Yep, Excel Blue Wave got reason to celebrate. They are the champions of the 17U bracket of the state games of Georgia. This one coming to a little bit earlier ending than we thought that it would, and we'll be back with more to talk. Moment that matters, player of the game, and more from LakePoint Sports.
Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
First one I picked up, I just liked it the best. And like I said, I tried a lot of different companies, a lot of different models, and I fell in love with Old Hickory for sure.
We're here at LakePoint Sports, the site of the first curve test center. There will be lots of curve test centers, but this will always be the first. And why are we here? Here for a couple of reasons. One is if you think about the effort players are spending trying to get coaches to notice them, the effort coaches are spending trying to figure out who's actually any good, the poor parents who are sitting there saying, where's my kid headed? This is the answer for all that.
Everyone wants to be seen, right? Sometimes what can be seen is data. So it's hard to get in front of coaches at all these programs at once, or even the school you really want to go to. So using data helps us a ton. And as long as it's reliable and there's something that can give us better information with the small sample size is what we're looking for.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Welcome back to LakePoint Sports. Cory, McCartney, Grayson, Rosen with you. We just saw a 9-1 win for Excel Blue Wave American over TL10 in the championship game in the 17U division in the state games of Georgia and Grayson. We sat through an hour and a half of rain delay, and all Cooper Mincy did was use that time to get ratcheted up, amped up, and man, he came out firing and set the tone as Excel Blue Wave was able to run away with this one.
Yeah, he was unbelievable, and obviously his pitching was a huge factor in this. He held off quite a few different attacks from this TL10 lineup, but it came down to, as well, what happened at the plate and blowing this thing open for Excel Blue Wave and just scoring a ton of runs and kind of just overwhelming a TL10 offense that couldn't quite get things going.
Excel Blue Wave had 12 hits in all. They would score 5 runs in the 5th inning, 3 in the 6th. And when we talk about our moment that mattered presented by Aspen Hospitality Group, I think, Grayson, we got to go with Samuel Eliard. You think about him getting stranded with a triple in the 3rd. Cooper Mincy left at second off a double in the 5th. Jacob Burgos brought an end to the waiting for a breakthrough. The Pell City 2026 delivering this RBI double in the 5th, part of a 5-run 5th inning that changed the complexity of this game.
Yeah, it was absolutely huge. We said it in the moment. They had been knocking on the door. Like you said, Eliard stranded after hitting the triple, then the Mincy double. And then Burgos opened the door, and everybody followed suit, and they just kept running it up from there.
I feel like I've already kind of given it away a little bit, but player of the game, there was no other place to go than Cooper Mincy. He goes 6 innings, allows 3 hits, 0 runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, also went 2 for 3 at the plate with 2 RBI, including a double. He was just absolutely fantastic in this one.
Yeah, and what he did on the mound was already amazing. The fact that he came back out after an hour and a half of waiting to come out and then looked as dominant as he did, and then you follow that up with what he did on the plate. I mean, it pretty well set it in stone that he was going to be player of the game just from what he did on the mound. Then he gets the 2 RBI single as well and had that double where he got stranded. Cooper Mincy with one heck of a performance.
You mentioned it when we came back from the break. 2 different ways that teams could have approached the pitching in this one. Excel Blue Wave decided to ride with their arm. We ended up seeing a handful of arms. Ended up with 5 pitchers in total for TL10. That approach really, I think, kind of set the stage for everything that was to happen. Excel Blue Wave believed in their arm. They rolled Cooper Mincy back out there, and they wind up with a championship here, a championship win in the state games of Georgia.
Yeah, this was a fantastic tournament all around. It was extremely fun, though the weather tried to put a damper on the fun here on championship day. It certainly lived up to the expectations.
Well, a nice start to the summer months for us here at LakePoint Sports. We'll be back Saturday with coverage of the Prep Baseball Showdown. 132 teams making their way to the premier travel and youth sports destination for that one. So you won't want to miss it. Make sure you follow us on all our social media channels. Later this week, we'll have tune-in information for you. So make sure you tune in for that one. Like all of our broadcasts, it'll be available for free on Facebook, X, and YouTube. So until next time, for Grayson Rosen, Jack McCartney, producers Maddie Bullock and Mason Monroe, I'm Cory McCartney. And for now, we're signing off from LakePoint Sports.